Hey Rob, it's March 21st, and I have something to show you. Now, I'm not someone who normally follows college sports, but this year, for a change, I made a bracket for March Madness. So this is what it looked like on the first day. This is what my bracket looked like after the first round, and I was figuring I did pretty well in the East and the West, but that was awful. And then this is what my bracket looked like after the second round. Because of all those games, my bracket has no choice but to look like this, which means my bracket will now look like this. Rob, I'd like to talk about something just a tiny bit serious today. It's a lot more serious to a lot of different people than it is to me. Like, this issue is way more serious to my brother than it is to me. AT&T is buying T-Mobile for $39 billion, which is a number I can't really even fathom. This will make AT&T the largest wireless carrier in the United States. Now you may say, Ryan, why does this matter? Well, it matters to me because I'm a T-Mobile customer, and it matters to my brother even more because he works for T-Mobile. And if AT&T buys T-Mobile, it's quite likely that they're going to start laying off the people who do what my brother does for T-Mobile. Who's really winning on this other than AT&T? AT&T is going to become such a huge company. T-Mobile was a company that said, well, we're going to provide more services for less money. They didn't necessarily have the best network. They had cheaper plans, and you could get more on the plans for less money. And really cool phones, like my MyTouch. Mind you, the merger between AT&T and T-Mobile does still have to be approved. I kind of hope that they don't let the merger go through because I like T-Mobile as a company and I want them to still be a company. I wanted to talk about a couple other corporate mergers for whatever reason. Some of them I have different reasons. Kind of like AT&T buying T-Mobile, AT&T also bought Singular back in 2004 to help improve their network. I'm not sure if AT&T really doesn't want to build their own network, but that's kind of the way it's looking to me. Buy a company in 2004 to make your network bigger, buy a company in 2011 to make your network bigger. Doesn't really seem like the nicest way to grow your network across the country. Now this one may be my favorite because I really like amusement parks. Geauga Lake was a park in Ohio, and right across the lake from it was SeaWorld. So if you were at Geauga Lake, you could see SeaWorld across the lake. At SeaWorld, you could see Geauga Lake. Geauga Lake was not the best run park. I can remember going there with my family and we had the gum wall in line for one of the roller coasters. The rides weren't really up to par. They could have been much, much nicer. It was really dirty. It was not nice. It just was not the best amusement park, quality-wise. But it had some cool stuff. SeaWorld across the lake, however, was beautiful. I didn't think I would have nearly as much fun there as I would at the place with roller coasters, but lo and behold, SeaWorld was amazingly better. Fast forward to the year 2000. Now in 2000, Six Flags bought Geauga Lake, and Geauga Lake became a much nicer park. They put in new roller coasters, they put in a huge amount of new rides. When it became Six Flags, they did over $40 million worth of improvements to the park and made it much, much nicer to go visit. They had great roller coasters, they had all sorts of very cool things. SeaWorld decided they wanted to start building rides, and they decided, well, Geauga Lake is right across the lake. We can just start using their roller coasters if we can buy them. So they made an offer to Six Flags to buy that side. Six Flags Over Ohio went, yeah, you know, that's cool, but how about we give you $110 million and you give us SeaWorld? And SeaWorld went, okay. Well, Six Flags started to have major financial difficulties, probably because they had companies that were offering to buy things from them, and they said, yeah, how about we give you $110 million? Eventually what happened was Cedar Fair, the company that owns Cedar Point, bought the entire complex. Cedar Point didn't want Geauga Lake to be competition for them because they're only about an hour and a half away from each other. So what Cedar Point did was they took out all the roller coasters, sent them other places, and ended up making it into a water park. I'm not saying that corporate mergers are good. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm saying they just are. And all the different ones that there are have different repercussions. Rob, I'll see you on Wednesday. Oh, and I'd really like to have questions for Question Friday. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask me for Question Friday, please leave them down below. Words, they must come.